DAZN have launched their first pay-per-view model in the UK. Canelo versus Bivol, good for boxing or bad? Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name is Johnny Rashman. Right, we heard the news last night that DAZN were launching the first pay-per-view model, even though the whole concept of DAZN is that it's a subscription-based service. There was meant to be no pay-per-view fights on there. However, last night it was confirmed that Canelo and Bivol will be the first pay-per-view on the platform. Happy days for people in the UK like myself. We don't have to pay. It's free. It's part of, well, it's not free. It's part of the subscription service, which is basically £8 a month. In America, it's basically $80 if you're a new subscriber, and I think it's $60 or $15.99. Basically $60 if you're a subscriber at the present. Right, let's break it down. We've all seen the clips of Eddie Hearn saying that pay-per-view is dead and DAZN's the future and subscription-based service is the future. Now, I will criticise Eddie Hearn when I think he deserves it, and I'll praise him when I think he deserves it. I'm actually going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think when he was saying that about pay-per-view, he was saying, I think what he meant was that non-worthy pay-per-view fights shouldn't be on pay-per-view. So we all know Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz, Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker, fights like that are not pay-per-view worthy. So I get what he means by that. And on DAZN, he is putting fights on there that shouldn't be on pay-per-view, right? That were being put on pay-per-view. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, I think what they banked on DAZN, I think that they thought they were going to be that successful early on that the money they generate, they'll be able to pay the big fighters the big purses and not put it on pay-per-view and pull it as part of the subscription service. That's not worked out, and Eddie Hearn has struggled to put the big fights on. He has. The Canelos and the big stars like that. I know he has put them on last year, but we're talking the big mega fights. He's found it hard to get them over the line, especially the last 6 months, right? Now, you've got to understand, the pay-per-view model is still here. It's been abused by especially broadcasters like Showtime, ESPN, and they're abusing the model. They always have done. They continue to do it. So when we're looking at the price point for this in the USA, as I say, UK, I'm happy. I'm happy. Well, it's not costing us anything. It's part of my £8 a month or $7.99. So I'm happy about that. But if you're an American fan, you will be fuming a bit. But the price point is reasonable, because if Showtime and ESPN and Fox, if they're charging €70 or €80 for a pay-per-view fight, I mean, look at it. I mean, Thurman and Barrios, what were they charging for that? It's just a nonsense. That's not a pay-per-view fight. Ortiz and Martin, I think they were doing you a favour by charging $50 for that. Luis Ortiz and Charles Martin, absolute nonsense. Now, if they're still charging those price points, you can't blame DAZN for charging the same, right? Because they're just not going to be able to pay Canelo what he wants. He'll just go to Showtime or ESPN, right? So they have to match what the market is paying for pay-per-view, which is really what they're doing, essentially. I think DAZN is a fantastic concept. I really do. I like the fact that it's all boxing-based. Now, yes, in an ideal world, we'd want the UFC model in boxing, where everything is under one house, the same broadcaster, the same sanctioning bodies, the same fighters, but it's not going to happen, is it? Not unless a billionaire comes over and just pays everyone off and puts boxing under one house. That's not going to happen. So having different broadcasters and having different promotional outlets is healthy for the sports, I believe, because you've got different options. We've got Saturday night. We've got Josh Taylor in the UK fighting Jack Catterall. We've got tomorrow night Lawrence Okolie fighting. Right? We've got there's fights in America going on this weekend. Right? So there's a good mix. And I think it's healthy for boxing, especially for fighters, because now there's different options. They can go to DAZN, they can go to Showtime, they can go to Sky Sports, you know. So if you're a fighter now, you do have a variety of options. So I think that's healthy. And as I mentioned, I do like the DAZN concept to do. It's all boxing, right? If you're a boxing fan, it's happy days. There are problems with it, right? And I'm a big boxing fan, But I'm going to be completely honest with you. The problems that I have is the build up to the fights. You know, I've not got time to watch the app to go on DAZN or to go on Matchroom. Now, if you're not going on if you're not going on the app, or if you're not going into, or if you're not on Matchroom's YouTube channel, or if you're not following Eddie Hearn on social media, you're not going to know a build up to a fight. Someone messaged me today saying people from my work didn't even know Lawrence Okolie was fighting, and it's true. You do get that with DAZN because it's not on mainstream TV, is it? It can't be. When you're watching football, like in England, if you're watching the Premier League, you don't see advertisements for it. You know, you can't say, right, tonight's fight is this, and it's on DAZN channel, blah, 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 tune in. You don't get that. So, I mean, I'm struggling as a hardcore boxing fan. So if you're a non-boxing fan, or if you're a casual, you're not going to know the fights are on. You're really not. And that's the issue that DAZN have at this problem. It's in its infancy. It's similar to Netflix at first. You've got to understand, when Netflix first came out, people would have been saying the same thing. Oh, I don't want to go into an app, and I'd rather watch it on Sky Box Office or TV. I don't want to stream an app, and you know, there were problems like that. And look how successful Netflix is. DAZN are trying to do that with boxing and sport, right? It's imperative that they do get the Premier League rights, they get football rights, because if they get that, they get taken ultra seriously, because then you're bringing the football fans into it, right? But they do have issues in building fights, and they're going to have issues in building stars, because let's get it right. Conor Benn at the moment was built up by Sky Sports, right? That's the fact, right? He's got his name from Sky Sports. Sky Sports are a powerhouse in marketing, right? And Eddie Hearn, right, is feeling the effect of not being with a broadcaster like Sky Sports, which is why he is here, there, and everywhere getting his name out there, right? So building his profile, because if his profile is built, he can lure them onto DAZN, right? You see him promoting, you see him advising, you see him interviewing, you see him presenting, you see him giving motivational speeches, which, by the way, I don't really want to hear, to be quite honest with you. Like, I'm all for successful people, but it is pretty difficult hearing someone preach about how to be successful when you've never made a decision in your life that's really going to impact you in a bad way. You know, if Eddie Hearn loses money, he loses money. He's not going to lose his house, is he? So I don't really want to hear that all the time. He needs to lay off that a bit, right? But he's here, there, and everywhere. He's building his profile, and he has to, because he knows he's not got Sky Sports as a broadcaster. He's not got that promotional powerhouse. And if people don't go on the app, they're not going to know anything, are they, about the fight? So that's why Eddie Hearn is very, very active on social media and in the media game. He has to do. And fair play, he is a great promoter. But the issue is, can they build a star? Canelo's already a star. Conor Benn's is already a star anyway, right? Yes, he can be built into a bigger star, but he's already a star. If you're a fighter, I don't know, Gamal Yafai, right? He's gone to DAZN. Can they build him to a star? We're going to have to see, because without the programming of Sky and the shoulder programming of being on Sky Sports TV and what comes with that, and Sky Sports News and all these other various aspects, all the media content that goes with Sky Sports, it's going to be extremely difficult for Eddie Hearn. It really is. And I believe DAZN, I think it is the future. I think it is. I think we're now moving into a place where everything is streaming. You know, I think DAZN's view is they want all sports, everything to be on one platform. That's not going to happen yet. Will it happen? I don't know. But there are problems with it. There are problems, because I'm not getting, when something's on DAZN, I'm not getting that juicy fight feeling. Like Khan and Brook, right? It was on Sky. We had everything. We had the build up and the press conferences and all that. And, you know, and sometimes, you know, I might not have watched the press conference, but then I might be watching Sky Sports News, or I might be watching football and it comes up there. Do you know what I mean? So I get to see it then. With DAZN, it's black or white. If you don't watch that streaming app, or if you don't follow Matchroom on social media or DAZN on social media, you're not going to know a thing about that fight. It's like the fight's not happening. Right? They can go on radio, but if you don't listen to the radio, you know. So it is a difficult problem, because a lot of people are saying that I'm just not getting brought into the fights, because I'm not seeing it. I'm too busy. I can't go on the app all the time. So It is a big problem if they could somehow get themselves on that Sky TV or something. I don't know, but it's very difficult for DAZN to build stars when you're relying on people to go in the app. And to be successful as a boxing broadcaster, you have to have, it's not just for hardcore boxing fans. Hardcore boxing fans will watch your channel if it's in outer space or if it's on the moon, right? We'll watch it anywhere, right? It's the casual fans. You might watch one fight every 3 weeks, or you might just watch the big fights. They're not going to buy DAZN, you know? So they need to push them into, they need to lure them into viewing DAZN's content. So it is difficult. In regards to Canelo and Bivol, I will give DAZN the benefit of the doubt, right? Because to get a star like Canelo, they have to pay big money. They have to pay a big purse. And where's that coming from? It's not coming from the subs, right? It's obviously not as successful as they thought it would be. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying pay. They wouldn't have based the whole market on a subscription service. They would have said straight away, we're going to have a few pay-per-view fights. They didn't say that at first, did they? So they need to pay the big purses, and that comes from pay-per-view. And I don't have a problem with it. The issue I have is if it starts to get abused, right? That's the issue I have, and I'll have a big problem with it then. I think boxing fans will. I don't think, especially in the UK, we don't have an issue with a few fights a year being on DAZN. Canelo, do I want to see someone like Ryan Garcia and Isaac Cruz? Do I want that on pay-per-view? Absolutely not. But that's the problem. That's the problem now. Now they've got a taste of it, they might think fighters are going to say, well, 1 minute, you paid this fighter this. I want to be paid this. Or I'm going to go somewhere else who will pay me this. So that's the problem they're going to have. It remains to be seen what they do, how many fights they do have on pay-per-view. I know Eddie Hearn says we're going to have 2 or 3 fights, but you've got to understand, as I say many times, you can't take what Eddie Hearn says as gospel. His job is like a politician. His job is not to tell the truth. His job is to spin his narrative on things, and he's a good promoter, and that's what promoters do. It's our job in the media game, whether it's outlets like myself or mainstream broadcasters or mainstream outlets, to reveal the truth, right? Because Eddie Hearn won't tell the truth. What he says today, he'll change tomorrow, like a politician does, right? That's his job. He's a promoter. So he might say it's 2-3 fights here, but things will start creeping into it, where we are getting non-worthy pay-per-view fights, and that is going to be the problem with it, and that's what boxing fans will get annoyed at. If you're in America, you're going to be annoyed at the pay-per-view model. I mean, I think it's diabolical that anything over $50 for a pay-per-view, do me a favor, that's just abusing the fans. I don't understand why it is that in America and it's not that in the UK. It should be, if it's free in the UK, it should be free in America. It's as simple as that, right? It's just being abused. It's greed. It's greed from the broadcaster. It's greed from the fighters. It's greed from the promoters, and it's greed from the managers. All it is. It's greed. Take. As I say, I'm going to take this. What can we take from the fans? Let's squeeze every bit of money, like a lemon, right? You squeeze a lemon, you're trying to squeeze all the juice out of it. That's what broadcasters and promoters do in regards to pay-per-view. That's what they do. And it's out of order, and it shouldn't happen, but it does happen. The fights with the Canelo fights, I don't have an issue with it being on pay-per-view. We can all nitpick. I know fans are saying, I'm going to cancel my subscription. I know there's UK fans saying, oh, if DAZN, when DAZN went up from £5 to £8, I'm going to cancel my subscription. But come on, right? Really, £8 every 4 weeks, right? For the content that you do get, really is fair, right? We all like to have a go at Eddie and DAZN, and it's become the norm to pick holes out of things, but it's fair, isn't it, right? For what you're getting, they put a lot of content out there. You're getting decent fights on there, right? They're not pay-per-view, right? And for £8 a month, you're getting fight cards from America, fight cards in England. I think that's reasonable. America's a bit different. I think it's $20 a month. So yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but again, I think the concept is a fantastic concept, and without DAZN, where fighters have less options. So I like the fact that, I can tune into DAZN, I can tune into Showtime, I can tune into Sky Sports. I like that fact. I like the fact there's a lot of boxing that I can watch now. As I mentioned before, yes, we'd all like it under one umbrella, every fighter and every promoter, but it's not going to happen. That UFC model is not going to happen with boxing, is it? Right? So I like the DAZN concept. I think it's good for boxing. But if they start abusing the pay-per-view model, which could happen, because once they get a taste of it, you know, they're gonna want more of it and more of it. But that can't be allowed to happen, right? So let's see what happens with it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's fair for DAZN to put certain fights a year on pay-per-view? Do you think it's just a disgrace? Are they taking the mick? Like, comment, subscribe, and see you soon.